as we promised everyone who got to watch episode 1, we were going to dive right into a topic that's kind of near and dear to your heart, and that's AI, right? Or, well, we said emerging technologies, but it sounds like we're going to focus a little bit on AI today.
Yeah.
Kick us off.
Well, I think it should be a topic dear to everybody because it's going to impact everybody. As a side note, good news is that there's several people that reached out to me on LinkedIn, which is exactly what we said, which is exactly what we're trying to do with this podcast, which is, look, we want to build a community. If there's topics you're really interested in and you want to have a deeper conversation, reach out and we can set up, we can workshop things, we can create a community around it. So that's number one. AI. I mean, 2 years ago, we didn't know what, except for the people that study it and work in it, we didn't know what generative AI is. And today, it's everywhere. And Joe, I'm going to share a couple of statistics with you that I came across through an article in the New York Times.
Okay.
And it was arguing who's the winners today of the AI revolution. They were saying, it seems to be consulting organizations. But just to put things into perspective, imagine this. Boston Consulting Group went from 0 to 1/5 of their revenue being a generative AI today. McKinsey, 40% of their business today is generative AI. IBM has $1 billion in sold services for their generative AI. Accenture is doing $300 million, and KPMG, which was doing 0 in generative AI work last year, is now at $650 million. So that just, these are staggering numbers, and it shows a couple of things. Number one, it shows that this is going fast, right?
Yeah.
This is going really fast. And number two, it also shows that organizations, and I think higher education will become part of this, let's call it rush to what do we need to do, that organizations are clamoring for expertise. Now, what does that mean for us in higher education? Higher education usually is a little bit late on a lot of innovations, which is interesting because some of the basic science and some of the basic concepts is actually happening within the university. As a matter of fact, I would argue at this very moment, you have people at your university, both at the academic level, but also at the student level, that are working with this stuff. And one of the things that I would recommend everybody to do is start building a community internally. Right. And so this a little focus that we have on this podcast is focusing on the IT department, but this is going to impact everybody. My message to the IT department is start looking outside of your own organization. Right. You need to do a couple of things. Number one, if you're not already involved, start educating yourself. Marshall McLuhan back in the day had this famous phrase, the message is the medium. In this case, it really is as well, because if you're in IT or if you're just working at any of the business offices and you're just unsure, what does it really mean? I mean, everybody knows the word ChatGPT and, I hear it's really nifty, etc. But if you don't understand, look, there's a wealth of information, right? There's newsletters. I mean, one of the things, I have 3 newsletters that I read every day. Dr. Alan D. Thompson is, in my opinion, one of the foremost evangelists of AI, but making it in plain English. He has a newsletter called The Memo. I have another one called The Rundown, which is run by Dr. Alvaro Cintas. Leon Furzi, which is an academic and consultant who is focusing on AI in the classroom. And then the AI mindset. Those are the 4 things that I read every day. And by the way, it's free. These are newsletters, right? They have a premium membership if you want to do it. But this will get you thinking beyond ChatGPT, beyond just what are large language models. And it opens up a whole different world. So I would recommend anybody, start with that. So my recommendation is you don't have to be an expert, but every IT department.
But just get caught up, right? And stay current.
Right. You need to start to be able to use the language and know the impact of generative AI and other AIs, by the way, what AI could mean for higher education. What does it mean for you as an organization, right? And there's tactical
Now, do you have
things
a couple of use cases you're keeping your eye on, either inside higher ed or outside higher ed, that are inspiring you of what's possible or what the art of the possible may be?
There's a lawyer called Adam Unikowski who argues Supreme Court cases. He's argued eight Supreme Court cases, and he's been experimenting with Claude AI, which is a competitor of ChatGPT, and he's been feeding the materials for real Supreme Court cases, decided Supreme Court cases.
Okay.
And Claude got 4 out of 5, identical to how the justices actually ruled. The fifth one, which it didn't rule in the same way, it argued with the dissent. So if you ask Adam Unikowski, he says, "Oh, Claude is a capable legal clerk." Right? So that just shows you these things are going really, really fast. And this opens up a vast discussion about ethics, about privacy, about job security. I mean, we can go on and on and on. Let me give you one more example. So as you know, Beyond is an international organization. Some of us live in other countries temporarily. I'm one of those people. There's some IRS rulings that you can take advantage of if you out, depending on how many days you're inside the country, outside the country. So I need to track, when I travel to clients, we're at clients all the time. I need to figure out, okay, how many days was I in or outside the United States. So last week,
qualify for certain tax treatment.
Exactly, yeah. So last week, I thought, let me take a picture of the stamps, the entry and exit stamps that I have in my passport. So I took a picture, uploaded it into Claude AI, and I asked, and my prompt was, can you, based on the information that I just provided, can you tell me if I'm eligible for this particular IRS provision? Joe, 20 seconds. It not only recognized that these were entry-exit stamps from customs, or immigration rather, but from a different country, translated it from Spanish to English, put it into the right order, found one from Greece, and says, oh, this one is from Greece, even though on the stamp from Greece, it doesn't say Greece, it says Athena, right? So it knew it actually means Greece, and then applied all of that to the IRS ruling. It knew what the IRS ruling is and says, based on this, you actually qualify. And you still have X amount of days, right? So my immediate reaction was, imagine if you could do this with a transcript. If I can upload a transcript and I have an AI that knows all the rules, that's amazing.
The translational rules.
Right? Yeah, the translational rules. Now, for our viewers and listeners, please don't do this, right? Because this is part of the issue.
Yeah, right.
Don't start uploading students' information,
live transcripts
or anything into any LLM, please. But it doesn't take a genius to figure out that this is here, this is coming. What does it mean?
What's possible?
Right. Good.
But to your point about the IT department, the challenge to IT is, how can you get out of the all day long putting out fires thing and start some of these conversations across the campus, be the initiator of these conversations,
Correct.
Find the functional leaders who have problems in admissions, in recruitment, in retention or whatever, and just go to lunch, just have a conversation, do a whiteboard session. So we do, right? People, we get brought in to have those conversations, but you could be having those conversations. And why aren't those conversations happening every day and every week on your campus?
Yeah, because somebody needs to lead, right? And IT is uniquely positioned because they're comfortable with technology, understand the university business. They're uniquely positioned to kind of take a leadership position. Doesn't mean they have to lead everything, but they can facilitate a lot of conversations. We have clients that from an AI perspective are building programs, building partnerships. This is all happening outside of IT. So, but for IT, it's a perfect example. You actually get involved and be a trusted partner internally. And I think this is important. I think every IT department needs to develop a point of view and needs to develop some basic skills, because what you don't want to do, and this is going to sound counterproductive, you don't want to rely on consulting organizations to come in and tell you, well, here's the magic button that's going to solve all your problem.
So our advice to those listening is, number one, start getting educated on this. If you aren't fully dialed in and reading like you are every day, 3-4 different things, get there quick. Number two, start facilitating conversations on campus. Find the innovators, find the people who need problems solved, and facilitate some of those conversations. If needed, bring outsiders like us in. But in most cases, it's you and some smart people on campus can get this pretty far along. And then have a build it here mindset of what can we build here for us, rather than waiting for some ed tech company to come up with some revolutionary AI powered gizmo that's going to be one size fits all. It may have been designed with school 1, but it won't work for school 3. Why wait for that when you could be innovating right now?
Yeah.
Little wins along the way, right?
Yeah. And part of that innovation is also your policies and procedures. And right, you need to have a point of view of what AI actually means for your organization. Because once you start turning things on, once you start connecting certain data silos, you need to know what that means from a governance and a policies and compliance point of view. And we've already have in market legal cases where, for example, an airline was held responsible for an answer that an AI chatbot gave to a customer that was not in congruence with the actual policies and what but this was. But the principle that it established was no, if you build something, you're responsible for the outcomes and how it behaves and how it interacts with your users. So exciting times,
That's awesome.
and like I
Exciting
said,
times.
yeah,
Obviously, this is a topic we're going to keep coming back to, but at
yes,
least we've given people a starting point, a leap off point. Again, reach out to Fred like some of you did last week. Have the conversation, chit chat, get some guidance. We'll certainly link some of the resources you have in mind, Fred, right on the YouTube channel. And see you all next week.